Hey everyone, New012 here. Welcome back to some Umineko. I decided to take a bit of a break because everything started really moving really fast. And so I decided to look back on everything that's happened so far. And what really struck me odd was the magic circles and how they're kind of a message to anyone who could read them. And so the first one obviously was going to be, you know, I'm going to offer a thank sacrifice to the Lord. Blah blah blah. But that was obviously directed towards Kenzo and or Maria, who could only read them, because no one else could really, read Hebrew. The second one was the for he breaks down gates of bronze and cuts through bars of iron, or something along those lines. And I found these interesting. So I decided to actually look them up because I know the Bible has a lot of different, meanings. And what I found interesting is the first one that Maria was talking about didn't actually include the 16 because it was 16 to 17. She only had the 17. Because verse 16 goes, accordingly, depending on which one you use, "Truly I am your servant, Lord. I serve you just as my mother did. You have freed me from my chains." It gives it a whole new meaning of, I will offer a thanks sacrifice to you. It also is, I was born into your household. I am your servant. I am the son of your maidservant. Interesting. So, what this leads me to believe is that this has some significance. There's significance why it wasn't brought up in the very beginning. There's a significance why they only read the 17 instead of the 16, because it gives the 17 a much different connotation. When the person's talking about the sacrifices from the son of a maidservant, saying that they sacrifice a thank offering to them, i.e. to thank them for something that they've done. Obviously, in the Bible, they're referring to the God. But in this one, I believe it's going to be completely different, because you can either take it as a literal sense, or you can take it in the sense of the Bible. Since I do believe this is a message to Kenzo, I believe it's more talking to him, saying, I am your servant. Saying that the person behind this is a servant at the household, born into his household, or the son of his maidservant, which is a female maid and all that. Which could be Kumasawa had a child. We don't know this, of course. I'm speculating at this point. Wild speculations. That it could be canon. Could have been born from Kumasawa. As they say, it's from the household thing, or the, that house where only the best of the servants come out from. I'm going to believe that there's something strange going on there, because I need more information on it. It was a little too lackful of information, because I think Genji's too old to be the son of a servant that served Kenzo. Same with Goda. Most likely, of course. So I'm gonna assume it's canon that this is referring to. Now, of course, he's dead. And the reason why I also believe it's canon is because if you go from the idea that canon is the one who's being referred to here, then you go into the other psalm that I was talking about. He breaks down gates of bronze and cuts through bars of iron. What I found interesting is very few of the Bible passages used an uppercase H, which that's how they usually refer to God. Instead, it's a lowercase h, indicating that's a human. And canon did technically cut through the bars of iron. Now, do I think canon's behind everything? Maybe. It's just now I'm extremely suspicious of him. And that it's interesting that they would leave this out. Kind of because they give you just enough information that you wouldn't necessarily look it up. But I decided I wanted to. I was curious. Because it's just strange that you'd leave out something where the person literally refers to them, I am your servant, twice in the same passage. Right after another, guaranteeing that yes, this person is a servant. And it's interesting because I do believe canon does wear the Ushirumi thing. If I go back here, I do believe, yeah, he does have the E1-crested eagle, which means he is part of the household. He's born into the household. Well, he could be. He could very well have something to do with this thing. Did he fake his death? Maybe. Kumasawa would have to be in on it, and she definitely could be. Especially if, you know, he is her like, the son. Because it could have been she got pregnant with him, hid the birth, and then ended up, like, they need to ship him off into that area to keep the birth hidden, or whatever. Because it's interesting, because if it is a message to Kinzo, why, if it is the message to Kinzo, why choose this one? Unless it is a true servant. So I'm going to go with that idea that the main person behind this is a servant. It's clearly a male who's behind it as well, because there's no reason why you pick a passage where it says, I am your son, and you use it directed to him. I would pass this off as a coincidence if I didn't immediately come from Higurashi, where there's no such thing as coincidences. So, that I am going to assume the worst in this case. That one of these servants, probably canon, is responsible for this. Or it could be another unknown male that we don't know about yet. Well, there's obviously an unknown female unless it is Kumasawa, which I think she's gonna die next. Either her, Nanjo, or Genji. Maria's probably going to live, well, until, like, you know, everyone's supposed to die on the last day or whatever before Beatrice gets resurrected or revived. I assume all these people will live. Maybe not Natsui. But I assume, like, the children will live. I assume all the adults will die. Anyways, that's what I believe is going on now. That is my theory, because why leave it out if it's unimportant? Wouldn't you want to throw as many unimportant information in there as possible? So I'll keep that tucked away in the very back of my mind, just to keep that fresh in that sense, that I won't let that go. I'm not going to pass that off as a coincidence. Don't tell me if I'm right or wrong, if I'm on the right line of thinking, because I already know I am onto something. It lines up really well with the whole servant. And it's just, I don't know. Especially with all the talks of the family household and all that. It's just, I would find it very odd if it didn't have anything to do with it. If it was completely useless.
Beatrice 様のことになると人が変わったようでしたっけね。
In the direction of Kumasawa's upward gaze, a portrait of Beatrice could be seen. It wasn't massive like the one hanging in the entrance hall, but small, made for this room. Grandfather probably spent every day in this room and so much of his time talking to the witch in that portrait. Who was Beatrice to grandfather in the first place? Well, that could be the handmaid. He could have a child with her. Who knows? And that son, the son of that, you know, of him and her, could be wanting to get a, you know, the inheritance back, because it would give him a right to, if it was his direct son, if he got rid of all of the heirs, like direct heirs, then he would have no he would have a straight line to get the inheritance. And not have to deal with anyone else. There wouldn't be any drama. It would all be his, and it would be, not how to word this correctly, it would make it a lot easier that he doesn't have to fight with anyone, and that there is no, like, legal consequences of saying, yeah, I am related to him. So the state doesn't just get his inheritance, because if there's no, like, legal relatives or whatever left, you know, it just goes to the state. But if he comes out and says, yes, I am related to him, even though he wasn't ever here, never talked about anything, he would get the inheritance, because he would have a right to it. Right now, you couldn't just explain it away by saying it was a story made by the parents to frighten children away from wandering into the forest. While eating the canned food we brought from the kitchen, we talked together about who Beatrice was. Whether the culprit was Beatrice herself or someone pretending to be her. Whether they were a witch or a human, that was besides the point. And if my theory is correct, it is a human. It is a 19th person, or possibly an 18th person that's hiding their true identity. If it is a servant. Though, Canon's dead, so there kind of goes that. So I'd assume it's a 19th person. Or someone that we're not aware of, at least. Or someone's past. The woman in this portrait was strongly related to the roots and background of this case. You couldn't talk about this case without talking about her.
そうだ。母さん、エヴァおばさんたちの部屋で犯人の手紙を拾ったんでしょ?
Thank God we're actually going to read that. Thank you, Jessica, for bringing that up. I was really wanting to read that. Can you? Thank you. Natsui took out that Western envelope. Genji pulled a paper knife out of a drawer to the study desk and handed it to her. The fuck? I can just open the wax seal. Calm down, buddy. I don't need a fucking knife. While watching her open it, George grimaced slightly. After all, it was a letter left at the site where his parents had been murdered. Yeah, calm down, George. Come on. There was a good chance its contents would say something unbearable to Aniki. Maybe. Aunt Natsui also seemed to realize that, so she glanced over the contents first without reading it aloud. Oh, fuck you. Spoilers. We were a little frightened that she might grimace after reading something shocking, but she just frowned unhappily. Probably some form of gloating. Natsui, after deciding that the contents could be shown to the children, set it openly on the table. Everyone stared at it at the same time. Oh, I heard something. Anything? Ah, number 2. Praise my name. That's the entire letter. Praise my name. Fuck you too, bitch. Interesting. Fuck off. That's what I say to you. Fuck off. Hasn't won yet. I'm still standing here. Fuck off, Maria. I will throw you out that goddamn window. I kind of was too, so I could read more into it. But it also depends on which Bible translation Ryukishi used. Because it could mean various different things. But I assume, because he is very smart, and loves to play in just the very nature of those kinds of things, that he definitely thought about that before just picking a random Bible verse. Throw her out the fucking window. Of course not.
Beatrice は自称じい様の最古の腹心だ。じい様も常々そう口にしてたんですよね。
Yeah, he's talked, or at least they've talked about it. I spoke to Genji and Kumasawa, who nodded together.
ってことは、じい様の次に詳しいのは源氏さんと熊沢さんってことになる。話してくれないっすか。
私は長いことわざと耳にしなかった話です。ですがこの期に及んではそうも言っていられません。 源氏、知っている限りを話しなさい。
Genji didn't answer. Did he remain silent despite his knowledge, or did he know nothing at all? Still, I had a good guess. The ghost story of the witch Beatrice had long been deified among the servants. Deified. He had probably been very close to grandfather and his occult hobbies. So there was a good chance that he'd been indoctrinated with even wilder things, and had increasingly come to deify the witch. As grandfather's most trusted servant who had sworn loyalty to him, he might be the most influenced by the illusion of the witch that grandfather had created. So there was only one reason for Genji to remain silent. He could speak, but it would definitely cause a backlash. So it was better if he kept his mouth shut. And it wasn't like we'd believe him anyway. Something along those lines. I don't know. There's definitely something that he wants to hide. Something. A short while ago, Maria had been more than willing to speak bluntly and unrestrainedly, and that had earned her a scuffle with Jessica. It was natural for Genji to keep his silence. His concubine. That could be possible. I would not be surprised, and it would further my theory as well at the exact same time that he had a bastard son, and that he wants his revenge on the family for being like ostracized, maybe. Who knows? I don't know why. For ordinary poor people, polygamy isn't only viewed negatively from a moral perspective. It's also an unmaintainable financial situation. Yeah, I could imagine that would be tough. More like it's just a drain emotionally, having to do with an extra person. God. But that isn't the case for the very rich. It's possible for them to have another lover in addition to their real wife. We can't deny the possibility that grandfather had another woman in his life besides grandmother.
かもな。ばあ様は生きてた頃、よく疑ってたらしいぜ。浮気相手がいるってな。俺はてっきりそれはじい様の想像の中の魔女のことを指してるんだとばかり思ってたんだが。
Maybe not as imaginary as we thought.
そりゃなんとも面白い話になってきたぜ。源氏さんは俺に言ったよな。ベアトリーチェはこの屋敷ができる以前からじい様に仕えてたって。
Yeah, just a different kind of working for.
お屋敷が竣工したのは昭和27年と聞いています。
And if it also turns out that she was more of like a servant type role, it's confirmed. I will confirm it right then and there. That my theory is 100% real.
ってことは、ベアトリーチェという人は30年以上も昔からおじい様と連れ添っていたということになるね。
その30年前の愛人、もしくはその縁者や隠し子が何かの恨みがあって何らかの復讐を企んだ。
I'm going with Hidden Son.
なるほど。洋館ミステリーっぽいありがちなストーリーになってきたじゃねえか。
Hey, they're the one that slipped up and left 16 instead of just 17. Because if it was just 17, I wouldn't have had any other idea. But I looked at 16 and I was like, oh shit. This gives an entirely different meaning.
汚らわしい話ですが、一番納得できる筋書きです。どうですか、源氏。
Genji, don't fucking deny it.
おそらく親方様に恋愛の感情は終わりになられたでしょう。亡くなられた奥様より愛しておられたに違いありません。
There you go.
ベアトリーチェってのは何者なんだよ。
Beatrice? That's who the person is?
そして今はどうしてるんだ。
Probably dead. I mean, I'm going on that line of reasoning that The son's trying to get revenge for his mother. Not a surprise. I mean, like, they're all old people. I mean, come on. It's not surprising. I mean, I would have been more impressed that she would be alive. I mean, Kenzo was on his deathbed. That makes more sense. Okay, so that's what the son is doing then, trying to revive his mother. Interesting. As Genji said this, he spread his arms, as though asking us to look at this room, filled with the signs of grandfather's madness. Things are coming together pretty quickly, though. I say that, but it's going to get a huge wrench thrown into it. And that's, again, assuming that I'm correct. And I'm going to continue to assume I'm correct until I'm proven wrong. We were all at a loss for words. Normally, black magic seems like it would just be creepy, and it's really hard to imagine why someone might be so enraptured by it. Since Kinzo was just an eccentric who had restored the Ushiromiya family amidst his madness, nobody had tried to understand him. The only thing on grandfather's mind had been the loss of a beloved woman, and his inescapable sorrow. Earlier, this room had seemed creepy, but in an instant it had changed into something we could understand completely. More like just sad. I mean, coping's hard to do. For some, that is. The creepy books, the magic circles, the medicine, all of it. It all existed simply because he wanted to revive the face of a single woman who had left this world over 30 years ago.
一度だけ深く酔われた親方様にベアトリーチェ様のお話を聞かされたことがあります。
What else was part of the story, Kumasawa?
詳しいことは忘れてしまいましたが。
A fucking course you have.
それはもう女の私が聞いて羨むような深い深い愛情でございました。
金蔵さんは後宮家の当主を継いだ時、当時まだ生き残っていた後宮家の長老たちの意向で亡くなった奥さんとの結婚を決められたのです。
つまり後ろに強制された。
さようです。金蔵さんはお家復興のためだけに当主に据えられ、全ての重責を背負わされたのです。そんな金蔵さんがどこでどういう経緯でベアトリーチェと知り合ったのかは分かりかねます。
それ以上語るのは無粋だな。
That was when grandfather truly fell in love for the first time. Just how deep was his affection for her? That was easy to see just by looking around us. This room was covered with piles upon piles of things having to do with black magic. And grandfather spent every day shut in here, immersed in his research and isolated from the outside world, never regretting 1 minute of it. You couldn't help but recognize the depths of grandfather's love for Beatrice.
私誤解してたよ、ケンジさん。
What do you mean wrong?
何をでしょうか。
Thank you.
私、使用人の人たちが魔女を妄信するのはじい様の気持ち悪い黒魔術趣味に感化されてるからじゃないかってずっと思ってきた。違ったんだな。
By acting as though Beatrice's soul at least had been restored and existed inside this mansion, they might have hoped to soothe grandfather's heart. With closed eyes and the expression of one remembering something from the distant past, Genji had broken his long silence. In making that confession, he probably felt like he was betraying his one and only master in the most serious way, even though that person was already dead. Beatrice has revived as a witch, and she is in the mansion even now. Genji had said it, had believed it, had made people believe it, and would take that with him to the grave. This might have been the last service he would offer up to his master. The legend of the witch, the mysterious tale of Rokenjima that was still whispered of amongst the servants. Its true nature was a sad lie. No, it was an act of kindness towards grandfather, who had lost the person he loved above all else.
私はお父様の前で魔女を否定する話を何度か口にした覚えがあります。今ならそれがどれだけお父様を傷つけていたかわかります。
今の僕にならわかるよ。シャノンを蘇らせる方法が黒魔術だというなら、僕は今すぐにもこの部屋の次の主となって研究を始めるよ。
I mean, theoretically speaking, if I was in that yeah, I probably would. Yeah, not Shannon, but you know. I probably would.
兄貴。
Another strand of tears dripped from George's eyes. Oh my good God, George. Hold it together, man. Maybe his tears were infectious. Tears rose to Jessica's eyes too, and she sniffled.
Beatrice は言っていたよ。
Fuck off, Maria.
もうじき蘇ることができる。会うことができるって。
Very soon the door to the Golden Land will be opened. In the Promised Land that glitters gold, the souls of all the dead will be resurrected, with the love that has been lost. Then I will sleep in a world of peacefulness for all time.
そう言ったのか。
Not really, but no.
マリアに手紙を渡したベアトリーチェは。
信じないよね。
Answer the fucking question.
ここにじい様がいたならきっと喜んだろうな。もうじきベアトリーチェが蘇ることにさぞや踊り上がって喜んだろうな。なら俺は信じたぜ。じい様が半生をかけて研究したことで蘇り、愛した女の魂が蘇ったと信じて寿命を全うできるって言うんなら。
No, I believe there's a bitch named Beatrice.
俺も信じたぜ。
But I don't believe that it's an actual witch. I don't believe in the magic stuff now.
バトラ。
一人の女性をずっと愛し続けた気持ち周りにも伝わり真実となる。それを気遣いと呼べばそれまでだろうけれど、今の僕はあえてそれを魔法と呼んであげたいね。
気遣いじゃないよ。本当に魔法だよ。魔女だよ。
I doubt it.
やっぱり誰にもベアトリーチェの姿は見えないんだね。
Some time passed. As we listened to the sound of the rain, we considered what kind of love and madness must have possessed the owner of this room as he spent half of his life here.
女の私から聞けば、お父様の純愛の気持ちも少しは理解したいところですが、それではお母様の立つ瀬がありません。
同感だぜ。
Yeah.
浮気は浮気。
She has a point.
綺麗事にされちゃかなわねえよな。
Oh yeah, it's all nice for the other chick to, you know, have that. It's like, oh, that's adorable that he loved that one girl. Yeah, but what about the one he's actually married to? That's when it gets really awkward. Ugh. And I gotta say, don't cheat. Cheaters are the low of the low. They're the bottom of the bottom. Come on, guys. Fuck off. Or girls that cheat. Fuck you guys.